I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. A midnight walker, wondering why it's taking so long.
I tend to get lost a lot, like all the time, and
we figured we'd, like most people do, we'd go mark the course with the people, you know, starting 2 weeks before the race and get to learn the course a little bit, that kind of thing. But
then I volunteered to go out, and they have this course marking is sort of organized where you can sign up and go and mark the course with Charlie Thorne weeks before the race. And you know, it's just this big conga line sort of following Charlie as he pokes the little markers in.
So I think some people that help with the course markers they'll help put them in, and then Charlie will come along sometimes. He'll kind of look at one of the markers and like look around, and then he'll pull it back out because he only likes a certain number out there.
Well, I think one of the things I remember about the first few years, and that's a little bit different now, is the course marking. And I think there were a lot less course markings the first year. And the whole idea behind Hardrock is that it's a graduate level 100, that you have to have done a 100-miler before. And you should be able to find your way, even just from the course description or the maps. But in any other 100, I've never carried a map, I've never carried any course description. I always relied on course markings. But after getting out there and you see that you're supposed to bushwhack off a trail and just go up a hillside, and you don't have any course markings, and you're just like, so you definitely had to carry the map the first couple years. And I think more and more we've had course markings put out there because more and more people help with the course markings and realize it's really tough to find your way if you don't have course markings. So people that go and do the course marking always have about 10, 20 extra ones, and they're always putting a little, one or two more in between where Charlie puts his. So maybe Charlie doesn't know that yet, but I think people do put a little extra markings out there.
you know, Charlie kind of does the marking. He's the one that actually puts the flag in the ground. We just kind of carry his for the mule for him, and that's okay, but it's a long day out there.
The road sections, they won't even mark them at all. I think going up from the year I ran it from Ouray up to Governor Basin wasn't a single marker, and they're like, you know, there's dirt roads going off in all directions, and they just expect you to know it.
He's like, how can you get lost? You've run this 4 times, you know, but you know, you get into a zone, or I get into a zone, and
like Putnam Basin is kind of notorious for folks when the weather rolls in. You can, if you're not familiar with the trail, it's pretty easy to maybe get disoriented there.
They were hitting the markers, the Hardrock metal markers, and they would twist them. When the lightning hit it, they would twist them, and so they would look like Tootsie Rolls.
That's kind of a bad memory. Dan and I got lost out there. I mean, there's a number of times you make wrong turns. But that's not because of the course marking or anything. It's more like just because you're delirious at 12,000 feet. You just don't think. In the dark, you look over here and you look over there and you think it passes. Oh yeah, that's what it looked like yesterday during the daytime. But then you go there at night and you don't know what you're seeing. People make all kinds of mistakes, make wrong turns.
So it's nice to have a pacer because I know when Ben is there, we probably won't get lost, which is nice. So then I can even pay less attention.
One year, that same year, when I was running with Margaret, or actually the year after that, it was very difficult to see the course, and so we would have to leapfrog from marker to marker. There was a whole bunch of us on that ridge coming in from Putnam Basin, and then you finish in that direction, and you could barely see the markers, even though they're relatively close because of the fog.
I get lost a lot on regular runs, and I've gotten lost a lot in Hardrock, like seriously lost, where, you know, you're like yelling and just hoping to see someone or someone will hear you, and you know, and then you're like, I'm such an idiot, you know, I need to really pay attention. And
well, you know how it is. It's just like soup. It's like, whoa, where's the marker? I see it up here, and then you kind of leapfrog and all. So
I've spent a lot of time on the course. I ran the course last year, obviously during the race, but in training I have run every section of the course pretty much multiple times, and in the next few weeks before this year's race I will run it at least one more time fully through. And so I like to think that I can pretty much run the whole course without course markers, and that gives me a major advantage. People go off course here all the time because it's marked pretty sparsely, and sometimes it's just hard to differentiate the trees and the bushes from the markers. It's just the way it is. And so being able to follow the course without the markers, I mean, it takes like a huge weight off your shoulders, just knowing that you're not gonna, or there's much less of a chance of going off course. Of course, if you say you're gonna, not go off course because you know it, you're definitely gonna get lost. But
Hardrock, running from the dusk till dawn. A midnight walker, I wonder why it's taking so long. When the sun comes up, that's when I sing my song.